Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary, where today we continue working on our Vampire Survivors clone featuring Candy. And last time we got things moving with the basics and testing the waters with a projectile in the magic wand and a physical attack in the whip. Both were a solid start, which leads us to today's goal of continuing to build on these elements. Now, the overall goal this session was to get the upgrade system in place. So a pause menu of sorts, including a screenshot of the scene, was created. This screen would then deactivate all objects, display the screenshot, and our upgrade menu on top. Then a close function would delete the screenshot and reactivate everything to continue the action. And luckily, I then realized that this was a bad idea given our object pooling system. So instead of activating and deactivating everything, multiple lists were created to keep track of every active enemy, projectile, and experience orb. Now, these lists would then reactivate the proper objects instead of everything when the player leaves the upgrade menu. And outside of the fact that I screwed up the screenshot code, everything was working just as needed. The upgrade menu worked in conjunction with the pooling system, and thanks to our useful button system, the menu itself was easy to navigate and operate. So next was making this menu function and actually upgrade things. The player's level for each weapon available would be kept track of via array. Then scale, piercing, and amount count would be added to the default struct data for each weapon. A function was then written to return a specific weapon's position from the player's list of current weapons. Using that check, we could then determine which weapon will be affected and automatically apply the upgrade for that level. And it's here that it became apparent that a ton of reorganization would be required if we wanted to do this semi-efficiently. So the struct data for weapons was converted into an array to sync everything to the same references. The code was then reorganized to work on a more conventional trigger system, meaning no matter a projectile or physical, each attack would use the same loop, with things like the whip's behavior being additional after the fact. Again, basically a reorganization of previous code, only now functioning via improved code. Now, it took a lot of time and effort, but eventually the entire thing was converted and working properly. It was a ton of steps just to get the thing to look exactly like it did before. But now the weapon system was ready and capable of being upgraded. So a switch within a switch would determine the upgrade for each weapon. For the time being, I focused on the magic wand. So because the upgrades cycled through 2 or 3 variations throughout, each level was tied to their corresponding upgrade. I should also note that this data was pulled from a Vampire Survivors wiki in mid-February, so if anything is inaccurate or outdated, well, you know why. Anyway, all this extra work paid off as we now had an easy-to-use system to apply upgrades properly to the proper weapons. And at the very least, we now had a working clone of the magic wand from Vampire Survivors, although our values need to be tweaked to better behave like the magic wand. And that's about all the time I had for this session. Again, it was a ton of busy work for not a lot of visual payoff, but was a necessary step to make upgrading as easy and as versatile as possible. And with this new system, it may also make the inclusion of the rest of the Vampire Survivors weapons much easier to implement. But we'll just have to hope, wait, and see how things go when we get there. For now, that would do it for this session and today's Dev Diary. So if you enjoyed today's entry, consider leaving a like. Be sure to also subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't already. And let me know how you're feeling about this clone so far. Leave those thoughts and opinions in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.